Hello and welcome back to coverage here of the semifinals at GP Indianapolis. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Kenji Egashira. Well, we've got one of our elite teams sitting here in the top four. That's Paulo Vitor, Damo, Eric Froehlich, and Ben Stark. Easily the most experienced and accomplished team left in the field, and it's not remotely close. In fact, I would venture to say easily that they are the most accomplished team in the field, period.
Yeah.
Way more than Peach Garden Oath, which is saying a lot. On the other side of the table, Shenhar, Lance Austin, and Oliver Tiu. Now, we're going to start things off. Looks like our middle table here, Eric Froehlich and Lance Austin are the first to go.
And remember, every player from the OGP is on the play first. They won the die roll. They were first seed, basically. Well, other way around. They were first seed, so they were on the die roll, basically. And we'll see how that Goblin Trailblazer, or just, being on the play in general, is going to push them to the advantage. Now, Lance did have that one drop there, so if he has a two drop, he can already block Eric's two drop, but he did not. Oh, yeah, and we're getting aggro, Marshall.
What do we got?
Look at that. Goblin Trailblazer into Stormfleet Sprinter.
Want to go for a run? How about unblockable and menace creatures crunching into the red zone, really capitalizing on that first seed and winning the die roll automatically. And this is a little bit of desperation here for Lance Austin.
Yeah, 4 damage on turn 3. You can't block it.
Yeah, what's going on with the die there?
I think that was just to signify the aggressive urge for that end of turn.
Yeah, haven't seen that one before, but there goes, Eric was like, no.
It's until end of turn. It's not a 1-1 counter.
No. But Lance, he just needed to cycle that aggressive urge, really looking for something quickly because he has fallen quite behind. And there it is, Luminous Bonds. Nice one here for Lance. That is going to stem the bleeding. It gives him a chance to find an additional creature and have a way to block
the
Trailblazer.
Again, Eric still gets in for 2 and gets to develop it as board. He gets to bounce.
Storm Sculptor's going to pick it up, and we're going to be sprinting next turn. Eric helping out Lance there with finding the graveyard.
It's not just in the either.
No, Snubboard Sentry looks reprehensible?
Yeah. It's
horrendous? What word would you use, Kenji?
Unplayable.
So I can tell you that our table one, Paulo Vitor, Damo, Rosa, and Shenhar have just gotten underway. Paulo mulligan down to 5 cards. I think we're going to stay here for another couple of turns because this one could be over quickly, and then we'll jump over there.
It's going to end in a couple turns anyway, so this is 5 damage unblockable on turn 5. Eric went 2-drop effectively unblockable for now. Anyways.
Short-term unblockable.
Yeah. 3-drop unblockable.
Long-term unblockable.
4-drop unblockable. Bounce my unblockable that was, Luminous Bonded. And look at Lance's life total.
He's at 9.
And he hasn't dealt anything to Eric. He can't attack with his Exultant Sky Marcher unless he has another follow-up play because then this Trailblazer can get back in because of the menace.
This is not looking good for Lance Austin.
No.
Also, any tempo play, any type of bounce spell can be so devastating.
Right. Exactly. He did play a mountain here, which, it's not too uncommon to see multiple colors in Team Draft, but imagine if Lance had been on the play instead.
Oh, yeah.
That swings things huge.
Oh, yeah. He would be at a much higher life total. Things would look much better. But no, that is not the case. He's going to have to fire off Unfriendly Fire. That's going to take down the biggest threat on the other side, the Storm Sculptor. And it does mean, since he didn't attack with the Exultant Sky Marcher, that Eric is only getting in for 2, but 2 of 9. He's down to 7.
Not to mention he can still develop out other creatures.
Sure, here's a Shipwreck Looter. Not particularly good.
Speaking of not, I think he just drew a Water Knot for the turn.
Wow, and there's your boy.
Frilled Deathspitter.
Frilled Deathspitter. You like that one, but it's just tick-tock here, right? Each of these creatures, especially the ones with Evasion or the ones with Enrage here, are just getting worse and worse and worse for Lance Austin.
And that's the thing about the Menace creatures. They're good super early, and then when your opponent does stabilize, you can just keep on developing out your board, and now Lance is in a position where he's going to have to block like the Shipwreck Looter and the Frilled Deathspitter, but that means the Menace creature gets to get in afterwards.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm in a very precarious situation when I get in this spot because of the Menace creatures. I can't start attacking.
Correct.
It's like, at what point do I get to do something, right? And of course, I mentioned it a minute ago, but Crashing Tide, any number of bounce spells just throws that balance just far enough off that they just go attack with everything and you end up dying.
Generally good enough. All right, we'll see what Lance can muster here as he just passes the turn with 6 mana and 3 different colors. Eric, I'm sure, undeterred. And of course, this could be a divine verdict or something like that, but at the very least, the Frilled Death Spitter can also attack in. Nice snub horn.
It has not performed well this game, to say the least. And look at this. This is what you just mentioned, Kenji. He's going to trade off, take 2 anyway, take another 2, and look at that Goblin Trailblazer.
Yep.
He's like, hey, I'm ready to go in,
Back
coach.
online.
Crazy.
Well, Bonded Horncrest seems pretty good with unblockable creatures.
And that is going to do it. Lance Austin scoops up his cards to the Hall of Famer, Eric Froehlich. He picks up the first game win of our round here. And that means we get to go check in on Paulo Vitor, Damo Rosa, and Shenhar. And I will remind you, Paulo's on 5 here.
Oh, yeah.
He had a mulligan down to 5, so he is going to face a tall order no matter what, although this does help a little bit.
Remember that charging Monstersaur he first picked?
Oh, there it is. On the battlefield, the awkward splashes are everywhere here in Team Draft, and somehow Shahar has 7 cards in hand.
Holy moly.
7-1.
He's got 3 different colors going on here.
No board state, though. How is he going to deal with his charging Monstersaur? Those colors do not do a good job.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. He's going to need to play multiple creatures. Like, even a Crashing Tide is just so bad versus it.
Waterknot?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the best card is probably Waterknot, but then he's still facing down a 2/2 Menace, you know, while he doesn't have any creatures on the board. The saddest Jadecraft artisan ever. And with 1 green, it's just not too much that Shahar can have.
There's nothing.
Yeah, I see a Windstrider in his hand. I think a 1 with the wind behind that, but
I guess the treasure opens up a lot of doors, but he's chumping.
yeah.
Oh, another interloper. And look at this. Paulo kind of doing it now. He should probably just keep that. He'll have additional mana even after casting it.
Yep.
He can cast basically everything in his deck anyway.
I think at this point he just wants any creature and one that cycles.
Yeah.
You know, draws another card in
Extra
addition.
good.
Yep. You said Paulo Mulligan to 5 this game?
Paulo, he did.
Okay.
I mean, look at Shahar's hand. He still has 7 cards.
And you're looking at his graveyard here. He has Hunt the Weak,
Wow.
Run Aground, and some other random cards as well. But just Shahar's deck a little bit too slow. We know he's glutted on 3s and 4s, and Paulo was able to find one of the best
Holy
uncommons in the format.
Smokes. If it wasn't for Oliver, too, it would have been a sweep. But Oliver did win his game down on the first table. We're in Shuffle Cam here. But Paulo Vitor steals a game off of a mulligan to 5. That does not happen often. Apparently, Shahar just unable to deploy his threats. Another way to put it is charging Monstersaur.
Yeah. In his vampire deck, by the way.
That is true.
It's kind of funny. Radiant Destiny would have been naming pirates there, I think, because he had 2 Dire Fleet Interlopers.
That's right.
What happened to all those Legion Conquistadors?
That's right. I don't think he was planning on naming pirate that often, but there you go.
Huh? These guys just running a clinic.
Oliver apparently torched Ben Stark there because that was pretty quick.
Yep. Yeah, we might have a quick semis here. Depending if Eric and PV can win another, or maybe Ben wins the next 2.
Yeah. Well, you certainly wouldn't put it past Ben Stark to do that.
And see if Ben gets some advice for about a mulligan again.
So players are just getting set up here. Once one of them's underway, we will be down and ready to go. We are on Sunday Night Magic here from Indianapolis. Thank you so much for joining us. Live coverage here of the Team Limited GP.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Oh, there you go. We are in the semifinal. This is the first one. You can get a little glimpse on the left-hand side of the other one. We are going to be bringing you that. We're recording it right now, and we will be playing it back for you right after. Thank you, Judge. And again, if you don't want to get any spoilers on that and you follow any of the players who are in that other semifinal, maybe just stay off of Twitter for the next little bit so you can see it live with us, or almost live with us. By the way, that's Ben White's Neil Oliver and Eric Severson over there, the off-camera. Peter Ye, Ziru Zhou, and Jinyu Fei are the ones that are on camera there. I did get a chance to bump into them. Of course, we'll talk about them more when we watch their match, but that's their first time team drafting.
Nice.
If you say so.
Well, to be at a team draft situation in this event just means you've done very well.
That's true. That is true. And now the teams are examining opening hands again and saying, all right, which one is that? Ben does not look super impressed. And yeah, he told him nope. And it looks like we're underway here on table C. Maybe get a chance to look at what Ben Stark and Oliver 2 have brought to the table.
I hope Ben Stark drafted blue-white again. Darn. 3 blue-white decks on the day.
Blue-white boggles the whole weekend. Maria was hoping for the same thing. But Ben has disappointed and just brought a Merfolk Branchwalker in what looks to be at least green-white, although could be more colors. You never know.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, he didn't get the counter off of the Explorer, but New Horizons will give him one.
Sure. It's a good way to splash any potential cards that you might have picked up in a different color as well. Oliver on black-white, presumably vampires, of course. But we've seen crazier things than black-white non-vampires this weekend. A Ruthless Knave. How about a pirate? Just a straight-up trade with that Branchwalker.
By the way, in classic Ben Stark fashion, he threw a wrecking ball into this draft. I'm sure he scooped up a bunch of the rares, but his deck itself is pretty medium. It's a pretty fair deck, I would say. It's main green-white. I don't think he's actually even splashing for anything. Yeah, I don't see any splashes offhand here. So just green-white, but he did have to go kind of deep. He's got 4 Suncrested Pterodon in this deck.
That's actually really good with the Temple Altasaur he just played.
I know, he has 4 of them. He's also main decking a Plummet.
Okay.
And that is something that you'll see a lot more often in team draft for 2 reasons. One of them, you got a little short on playables. But the other one is that you have a lot more information about who you pass to, who you're playing against, and you can bring in narrow cards that are good in a specific matchup if you anticipate that that's the matchup that you're going to be facing.
Oh, the dinos have arrived.
Hello, friends.
You know what's really good with a 4-2?
What?
Temple Altasaur. 4-2 dinosaur, anyways.
It is. Yeah, it's a little less good with the Raptor Companion. but the Temple Altasaur really is going to be kind of annoying here for Oliver, at least as far as combat goes.
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
Yep.
Oliver's going to be forced to put 2 creatures in front of the frilled.
All right,
okay,
well, he's going to do it the good old-fashioned way here and just play Baffling End. And he's got a Voracious Vampire as the follow-up. He's going to target Exultant Sky Marcher. That's going to get him in for 3 damage in the air. So a productive turn for Oliver, but Ben Stark has a higher curve, and with 5 mana available, he can just start slamming 5-drops. Now, admittedly, again, 4 Suncrested Pterodon, it's not the type of thing that just dominates the board, but it will make life difficult for Oliver. And look at this. A race ensues. Here's
like
6 mana, and there it is. Colossal Dreadmaw, the big boy here from Ben Stark. And that is the kind of card that demands an answer quickly or ends the game. And traditionally, vampires, creature-wise, don't have great answers for a card that big. Now, they have a lot of answers as far as removal goes. And I'm sure that Ben Stark will be thinking about Divine Verdict here.
Exactly.
In fact, I actually just heard him say it.
Oh, or maybe Settle, he said.
Yeah, he said Settle. And this is what he's doing is Ben is actually consulting with Eric Froehlich in real time.
Yep.
And they're just reminding each other, what did you pass to Oliver? I mean, he was sitting right next to one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is exactly the case you were talking about prior to the matches starting, you know. In fact, I think you were talking about Divine Verdict as well.
I was. And this is really interesting because did you hear what Ben just said?
What was that?
It said, do we know if Oliver first picked a rare in pack 1? Now, the information being whoever Oliver passed to will have examined the pack, and if they see that the rare is the only thing missing, it makes it incrementally more likely that he could have a card like Settle the Wreckage.
Exactly.
And now Ben's just trying to remember if a pack has a transform card in it, a double face card, can it also have a regular rare, or does it also have a regular rare?
All the packs were completely messed up. They gave us packs that were not real.
And now Eric is being Eric and kind of windmilling Ben. But he will give him the answer somewhere in that
range, yeah.
He will have gotten his answer out of it. So the question is, does Ben play around it? And we're going to find out.
He's pretty safe to if he really wanted to. I mean, he's got a big board position here.
All right, it was just Divine Verdict, but that was one that I think Ben knew about. It was more like settle the wreckage. Do I want to get 2 for 1? Because the truth is that if you've got Divine Verdict on the other side, there's nothing Ben's going to do about it anyway, so he may as well just jam.
You know, Altasaur now is a 4/5. That's just bigger than every single vampire I can think of.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger than Vona, bigger than Champion of Dusk.
Well, here's a 5-drop now from Oliver. Well, not bad, but can he win this race?
No.
It's Anointed Deacon there. He's going to crouch in for 4. That's going to put Ben down to 11. It doesn't feel like he wins this race, though, does it?
No, but this is smart of Oliver because he's not dead on this attack. He can just take the hit and hope to draw something.
Oh, boy, there it is. Suncrested Pterodon number 1 for Ben Stark. Again, he's playing a full 4 copies of that thing. Not a great card, but it does some work.
Oh, Steadfast Armasaur are great with the Temple Altasaur.
Also, Ben does have the City's Blessing now.
Does he?
Oh, no, sorry.
He doesn't have an Ascend card.
No, I was thinking that the Sun-Crested Pterodon triggered off of the Blessing, but it's controlling another dinosaur. So it will, in fact, have Vigilance right now, because, in fact, he controls 2 other dinosaurs. So the way I run the math is that it actually has double Vigilance.
I see.
Yeah.
How does that work?
You'll see when he attacks. it definitely won't tap. I'm a judge, so you can trust me. I'm actually not a judge.
Not even accidental tapping. I see. Okay. I get you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not where Oliver 2 wants to be. He plays a Deadeye Tormentor with no raid and really not a whole lot going on. Ben's just going to survey the scene, make sure that the way is clear, but things looking very good for Ben Stark to pick up game number 2, and if he does so, that'll be 1 game apiece for him and his teammates, with only Oliver having taken a game on the other side.
But they're going to go to a game 3, as this is effectively a double chump here where the 2 flyers are going to bounce off of each other.
And that's going to do it. Ben Stark's going to scoop him up after having won his game number 2. And yikes, this one could be over very quickly. You said that a second ago, Kenji. You weren't kidding around. We've only got 1 game apiece on the left. And look at this. Whoa! Eric Froehlich looks like he's in good position against Lance Austin.
Oh, but Lance still getting on the offensive here. I like it. Yeah, Eric appears to have a bunch of unblockable creatures. You see the Stormfleet Sprinter with the Luminous Bonds on it. He has a Slippery Scoundrel with, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's 1. Oh, no, he has the extra land there as well. So that has the City's Blessing, it looks like. He has a Mistcloaked Herald.
Yeah, kind of a mishmash of creatures.
Yeah.
But it looks like the Lightning Recruit is the easy block on the Bellowing Aegisaur. It just soaks that up. And the best thing that Lance can do is trade off the Snubhorn for the Swaggering Corsair.
Yeah, and when all of your opponent's creatures are unblockable, I mean, you have to force the race issue.
Yeah, we need to get that Snubhorn into the act. There you go. Uh-oh, Eric's tapping pretty quickly here. What does he have? Swashbuckling.
Ooh. How's that on a hexproof creature and unblockable? That's 5 damage. Yowza.
Does Eric have the City's Blessing? Yes, he does.
Yeah, he had it last turn, I think.
Uh-huh. Sometimes they've been putting that token on the battlefield, but occasionally they'll just call it out. But as you can see, we've got a little marker there right next to their life totals that show you that they've got the City's Blessing. In fact, both of them do.
So Lance is out here at this position, is making a large attack and hoping that Eric messes up. Lance is dead multiple ways. The hexproof unblockable 4/4 Scoundrel. Eric can also just ping multiple times should he have another pirate, or double ping. Here, 1 at the end of the turn, plus 1 on his turn, and then the 1/1 Mistcloaked Herald would also finish the job out. So can't have a life gain method anymore unless it's Moment of Triumph. And Eric just doing his due diligence here, making sure he doesn't die on some random Pride of Conquerors effect.
Sure. Yeah, you got to order the blockers there. It's not relevant in this case, but you should do it every single time just in case it becomes that way. So what did Eric take there? 5? 4?
I think 5, right? The encampment keeper
the
also
keeper
got
also,
in. Yeah.
sure, yeah. Lance still 1 away from being able to activate it, but right now he's at 2 going to 1.
I mean, Eric might not even need to attack.
Yeah, if you can just cast a single
Pirate.
pirate.
Yep.
Yeah, trigger on the stack, tap it again, and that's going to do it. Eric Froehlich takes down his match 2-0 over Lance Austin, and he looks over to the left and he looks over to the right and he says, gentlemen, 1 game, please, from one of you. I don't care which one. And this team, they will find themselves in the finals. Okay, so this is Paulo Vitor Damo, who stunningly took a game off of a mulligan to 5 from Shenhar. Hard enough to beat Shenhar at full power, but he beat him after a mulligan to 5. And there it is again, Kenji, that charging monster sword for Paulo.
You know what? We have a board stall here as
Nezahal's keeping the
Shenhar
fort.
has a Nezahal and a Spire Winder with the City's Blessing, which holds off that Shining Aerosaur. Oh, but a Hunt the Week is the perfect answer here. Now, I don't think Shenhar can quite start attacking unless he has another follow-up play, as he doesn't have enough creatures.
No, but he's got plenty of action in hand, and that Nezahal's a major problem for Paulo. How is he going to get around that thing?
Oh, you know
the activated ability on Nezahal makes it so difficult to permanently get rid of it. You really have to find an opening.
Wow, Shahar's hand is stacked. He has Windstrider, Regisaur Alpha.
What?
Looks like he just drew another Hardy Veteran. It's basically mono spells as far as the eye can see.
It is, you're right. There's no lands. The thing is, he's using those unstable lands. They really stand out in the hand to know if he's got one, since they don't have a border on them, and he's just got 5 spells in hand, and this is just going to get disgusting. The question is, when can Shenhar actually start going on the offensive? It looks like right now.
It's so awkward. The Dinosaur Hunter is the perfect answer to Nezahal.
It really is. That said, Nezahal's still doing very good work.
Right.
Dissuading the charging monster sword from attacking, right?
It is the best blocker here for sure.
Also, Shenhar does have Ye Old City's Blessing. So he's actually attacking for 5 in the air.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Double Hunt the Week, I think, was the 2 counters on that Spire Winder.
Yeah, the Spire Winder is doing a pretty good impression of a dragon at this point.
Yep, and remember, Nezahal triggers off of any non-creature spell, so Shahar's going to draw a card with this Moment of Craving on the stack even.
Yeah, this is so brutal for Paulo. I mean, taking out that Hardy Veteran's not even amazing. And look at this. This is a bit of desperation here for Paulo Vitor Damo. So assume that Nezahal blocks the charging monster sword.
Well, there's a Windstrider that's also probably going to be flashed in here as well for Shenhar.
Okay. Well, let's see how that goes then. But let's just assume that the blocks that we think are going to happen. Then how does it look?
Shenhar would be taking at least 3 points of damage. Maybe, 4 even? Because he has a Dire Fleet Interloper with Menace, right?
Is he got the blocks already?
It certainly looks like it if he's doing the... he might be going through the motions first before playing the Windstrider, though.
Okay, or he has a trick.
Or he could have another trick, absolutely.
Because this is a desperation attack here for Paulo. Unless he has some way to back this up.
And on the surface, Shenhar would be taking, 6 damage right now?
That's why I'm curious if we're going to see
There we go. Okay, so he was just doing the math.
There it is. Eat that. Block that. Eat that.
And I think these are the pretty clear blocks here for Shenhar.
Yeah, this reduces the total damage down to 3. It also makes sure that he's clear of unfriendly fire.
Oh, he'll take 4 total.
Will he?
Yeah, 3 from the Interloper and 1 from the Dusk Legion Zealot.
Oh, you're right. So he is actually not clear of that at all. But unfortunately for Paulo, he has a different 5-drop as a follow-up. Canal Monitor.
Not even a dinosaur.
It's just a lost lizard. That's going to be really tough for Paulo to finish off Shenhar here.
Yeah, Shenhar has to be a little bit careful because he's so far ahead. He doesn't want to make too aggressive an attack unless he's going for the kill. If he does, Paulo might be able to draw a removal spell, and even though Shenhar would draw a card off of Nezahal, a menace creature and 1 other point of damage would be good enough here.
Looks like Lance may be offering some observations here as well.
So this is really nice. Main phase Run Aground not only deals with Paulo's only blocker, he knows that, you know, he'll be drawing that next turn. And Paulo's tapped out except for one for Sanctuary. Yes.
This is lethal. Yeah, 16 exactly. So that was the win right there for Shenhar. That is 1 game apiece for Damo Rosa and Shenhar. So both Shenhar and Oliver, too, have managed to pick up a win, but they're still 2 games behind as Eric Froehlich has won his match already against Lance Austin. That means that Ben Stark versus Oliver 2, this could be the decider.
Well, it looks like Oliver 2 is way ahead. He had a great curve for the Vampire deck where Ben kind of has a little stumbling start. He did have a baffling end for one of Oliver's creatures, but Knight of the Stampede, not great versus Menace or Death Touch.
There's land number 5, or I should say mana number 5 for Ben Stark. That's a critical part of his mana curve, but at 5 life, is it too late?
It might be too late here, Marshall.
I mean, what if he plays like 2 dinosaurs?
That's not even that great here. He'll have 3 blockers, but Oliver has at least 1 Menace creature, a Death Touch creature as well. So, like, he won't be dead on board, of course, but if Oliver has just basically anything.
Well, look at this.
Okay, that's pretty darn good. 5 mana to cast 8 or 9 mana worth of spells.
Hey, this looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Sure, but let's see if Oliver has like a Pious Interdiction or a Luminous Bonds or even just like a Vampire Zeal or Moment of Triumph.
All of these things.
And you know what? Look how many spells he has in his hand.
Yeah, he's got 4 or 5 spells, so this is a close one for Ben Stark. He'd love to turn the corner, win this match, and put his team into the finals, but it may be up to Paulo. If Oliver, too, can just finish off this game, he's way ahead.
Okay, I see the City's Blessing. I see Golden Demise here for Oliver, which takes care of the 4-2.
Yeah.
Also, it makes, you know, the Knight of the Stampede a non-blocker effectively, as it can't eat any of Oliver's creatures.
So Oliver says, I think I got you.
I think it actually is 1 short.
2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah. Ben can't block the Menace creature, but he can eat one of the 2 power creatures, so the Bishop Soldier or the Emissary Sunrise, and then just jump in front and chump the other one. So not dead, but on the ropes for sure.
Yeah, it puts him in such a bad spot because his creatures are tiny.
Yep.
A 4/4 and an 0/2 are his blocks. Like you said, he can kill 1, but it's hard to imagine how he comes back from this, even after that sequence of surviving.
Squire's Devotion is the card that I think is the most likely to be able to get him out of it if he had it, right? Slap that on your Colossal Dreadmaw, gain 7. Yeah, gain 7 and have a 1/1 blocker.
Yeah, that is the kind of thing that he's going to need here. So he's going to go ahead and block and then throw the chump block in front of the Emissary. He's going to take down the Bishop Soldier, but he's at 1 life is Ben Stark. He's going to need something pretty miraculous, or else Oliver 2 is going to win his match. And it's going to be all down to Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa versus Shenhar. Let's see what happens.
So I think I see a Luminous Bonds in Ben's hand. So he might be able to like Luminous Bonds, Voracious Vampire, and then
play 2 things.
Yeah, it seems a little far-fetched, but okay.
Hardy Veteran.
Luminous Bonds.
But he's still dead on board. What's the card he can have
Slash
here?
of Talons.
Slash of Talons is the card that Oliver has to play around, or in this case, not play around if he wants to win.
I mean,
Ben is going to put him to the test. I don't think Oliver's going to bite, though. I think he's just going for it. He's all in.
Moment of Triumph would also gain 2 life, but
yeah, and that is not what Ben Stark has. So he's got to extend the hand. And oh boy, it all comes down to 1 single game. Shenhar versus Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa. Are these guys going to knock off the best team left standing in the room? Maybe the best team when they walked in the door.
Is down to the wire here. Did not imagine we'd be in this position given the first 2.
No, it looked like it might have been one of those quick kind of, good run, guys. Let the pros take over from here. But that is not the case. Oliver, Shenhar, and Lance have put up a mighty fight. And now we've got lands for each, though interestingly, Paulo, you know, at first glance you might think, oh no.
He's got the mountain and the plains.
Yeah,
though,
but he already cracked himself a Traveler's Amulet. So, you know, he did that on purpose. Nothing out of the first 2 turns for either player and turn 3 from Paulo. What in the world? I
mean, that's not too surprising given Shahar's deck that we saw.
Agreed. Yeah, he was light on 2s.
Right, but Paulo had a decent number of 2s to play.
Maybe he's taken a different stance post-sideboard here as maybe a little bit more controlling deck. We'll find out. He's got to cast something here, though.
I would hope so. 4 mana, 3 different colors.
Yeah.
It's not a bad one.
No, Vampire Revenant there.
Although that is a delicious target for a hunt the week.
Oh, and there it is from Shahar. He says, yummy. And he's going to get in there for 3 damage with his River Darter.
Does he have Charging Monster Sword in his hand again?
Well, if he does, we're going to see it right now. Bang! Captain attacking. Take 5, Shahar. Shenhar, you're at 15. This one's not going to be so easy. And Shahar's going to have to find an answer for River Darter, and he's going to need to do it sooner than later, or that Charging Monster Sword will decide who's going to make it into the final.
I think, is that Nezahal in his hand as well? He might have the Nezahal already.
No, it's gonna be a while before he casts out, right? What is he at, 5 lands?
He's at 5 right now, and not double blue.
Okay. Nezahal did a great job in the last game of keeping that Charging Monster Sword at bay. Could happen again.
I was hoping Shahar there would jam his Regisaur Alpha and be like, I have Hasty Dinos too, you know?
Everybody gets one.
Everybody.
So what is Shahar going to search up with the Forerunner of the Heralds here? Let's find out.
I can't recall too many great Merfolk from Shahar. I mean, he can always opt to not get anything if he really wanted to.
Yeah, especially if he needs lands, like if he's out of lands.
But remember, every Merfolk that he has after is going to pump up the Forerunner of the Heralds, which gets a +1/+1 counter whenever another Merfolk enters the battlefield in your control.
Who is Herald? What is he all about? We've never figured it out. Looks like Shahar's asking his teammates, hey, should I actually get this card? You know, whatever it is that he's considering.
Let's take a look at Shahar's deck list. What's he got running in there?
That's Paulo. There you go. Okay, well, he ended up getting the Pioneer.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's going to pump up the Forerunner twice, remember? That produces 2 Merfolk next turn.
Mm-hmm. So he's actually going to just try to get a blocker.
Potentially. Or he could try racing here, of course.
That's true, too. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, Paul's going to get in while the getting's good. He's going to knock Shahar down to 10. It's next turn where things get interesting from Shahar's standpoint, especially if Paulo has an answer for the Forerunner.
Right.
You know, killing that actually makes a huge difference.
A Moment of Craving right now would be ideal.
Yeah, now, interestingly, though, I'm pretty sure Shahar has a dive down in his hand.
1 blue open.
I thought he did, yeah. So if Paulo puts him on a dive down, he may take on a little bit of extra risk and say, on your upkeep, I want to do something.
Right. Make him tap out on his turn.
Right. It's interesting because dive down's one that doesn't actually make your creature better in the sense of attacking for more. So you're willing to take that part, but it does open you up to more combat tricks. You know, Crash the Ramparts or something like that would be kind of annoying.
Absolutely.
So Paulo's going through those motions, and I'll tell you what, you know, he's got Ben Stark and Eric Froehlich in his ear as well, you know, talking about all the permutations that they could go through here before deciding what to do. They know that this is not the time to get sloppy.
Charging Monster Sword lets you get a little bit sloppy sometimes, but
that is true.
Well, he's eyeing 2 mana here, weighing the merits of doing something now. Yep, Moment of Craving, and wow.
Okay, it did work, so maybe no dive down then.
I think, yeah, if he had a dive down, he would have certainly used it there. That's basically saving a 5/4.
Yeah. Wow, so a big swing there.
That's huge.
In Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa's direction here.
Any follow-up play is just going to be a little bit back-breaking, I think. Okay, just past the turn, so maybe this is Shahar's opportunity. There's that Forerunner we saw, or rather the Jungleborn Pioneer. I think Paulo also had, what, a Reaver's Ambush as well as a Vanquish the Week that we saw him take. I don't know if it's in his hand, but we saw it in the previous drafting portion.
Yes, he does have those cards. The question is, does he have them available?
I have to imagine so, because I think I saw a Fathom Fleet Border in his hand. So instead of developing at his 3/3, he's opted to hold up this 3 mana. Now, the interesting thing is, if he had the ambush, wouldn't he have done it main phase as well on the River Darter once you knew the Moment of Craving resolved?
The answer's no action to be taken.
Looks like everybody just passed the turn back. Ah, the Radiant Destiny.
Is he going to name dinosaurs?
I certainly hope he does.
That was the least likely name, but hey, he's all in on charging Monster Story. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, that would allow it to trade for the 3/4 and the 2/2.
And look at this. Shenhar feels like he has no options but to just triple block. It was Dinosaur that was named, of course, Kenji. So triple block. Now, what's going to happen now is Paulo is going to order these blockers. And there it is.
There's the Reaver's Ambush.
Reaver Ambush.
Oh,
and that resolves too. This one is falling apart on Shenhar very quickly. He's taking damage and losing his board.
Yeah, taking 1 trample damage.
And he has nothing to show for it, although still only creature on board for Paulo is that charging Monster Store.
Okay, Shenhar did hit that double blue, though, so Nezahal might be hitting the battlefield next turn.
And he's going to have one more chance to hit a land. It's got to be an untapped land. Though. He's down to 3. It's not going to take much. That is not going to do it unless it has a friend.
There's that Phantom Fleet border.
That basically seals it up. Even Nezahal does not stabilize this board. Is there anything? Oh, Shenhar hit it too. Yes, and there's nothing he can do. Damo Rosa just has to simply turn his creature sideways, and he will put his team into the finals. The handshake is there. Paulo Vitor, Damo Rosa, Eric Froehlich, and Ben Stark are your first finalists. Great work to the best team left.
Absolutely.
And they're going to shake hands. And still, great work, though, by Shenhar, by Oliver, and by Lance. Of course, that's qualification for the Pro Tour, especially for Lance. That's his first time playing in the Pro Tour. So congratulations to them. A great finish, to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the run stops here for them on Sunday Night Magic. That's going to do it for that semifinal. Now, what we're doing is we're going to get set up for you for the next semifinal match as well, which we have been recording. Again, if you're on social media and you follow Neil Oliver, Eric Severson, those guys, don't look, because I think it's still going, but you don't want to get it spoiled, as we don't know what happened yet, and we're going to be watching them from a recorded standpoint and then kind of moving our way up. So Rashad's getting that ready for us right now. Let's see. I don't need these deck lists anymore, do I?
Wow, way to rub it in.
Sorry, but bye. That means though that Paulo, Eric, and Ben, they get to kind of hang out for a little bit. They're going to wait for the other match to finish, and then when they get done, they're going to get a chance to battle.
I think we might have Paulo.
Oh, all right. Why don't we have a quick chat here with Paulo Vitor, Damo Rosa. Paulo, Marshall Sutcliffe here with Kenji Higashira. How's it going, buddy?
Hello. It's going pretty good.
Man, nice work. You had to really pull that one out. Are you going to de-sleeve that charging Monster Store and put it in your wallet or
Frame
what?
it.
Oh, yeah. It was really good. I almost didn't splash for it.
You almost didn't splash for it?
It was worth it.
You took it in the draft thinking, well, I just don't want somebody else to have it?
Yeah, it was like, maybe I'll splash for this, but mainly I don't want anyone else to have it, which wouldn't have mattered because I don't think Lance was red at all, but he was green-white, so he wouldn't have played it. Maybe he would have splashed it, but...
He was actually splashing red in his deck as well, so
I think
he would have played it. What about that Radiant Destiny? What did you think you were going to name Dinosaur with it?
Yeah, no, I didn't play it earlier on. I had it in my hand on turn 3, but I didn't play it because my deck has 8 vampires and 6 pirates. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just draw, more pirates, and I wanted any pirates. But in the end, I named Dinosaur to protect myself from Aggressive Urge, which I knew there were 2 off in his pool because we got to see pools. I didn't know if he was playing them or not, but I thought it was the card that would most likely beat me in that spot. So I had to play it on Dinosaur, even though I only have 1 other Dinosaur.
Can you give our viewers an idea for how much information you and your team have about the possibilities that are in the decks and the hands of your opponents?
So in Shenhar's case, because our drafts were filmed, we actually got to see the entire pool. Like we had a list with all the cards that each other had. Not they were playing in their deck, but they had access to. And for Ben and Ifro is just talking to your teammates. It's like, so what kind of things did you pass? And you're like, oh, well, I passed River Heroes Boom 3rd. And then Ben is like, well, I do not see that. So Lance has to have it. And things like that. So we kind of construct kind of reverse engineer what decks they're playing,
Right.
and then we know, for example, we knew to play Plummet main deck for Ben because Ifra said I passed a bunch of wide flyers, and I said, well, I didn't see any, so Oliver has all of them.
Yeah, so you knew that you'd find targets. I also heard Ben had a conversation with you guys about Settle the Wreckage, maybe Divine Verdict, as you kind of narrow down what his opponent could have.
Yeah, and then like if you just ask, oh, why did you pass me? Did you pass my opponent? If you pass a card like Settle the Wreckage, you'll remember it. And then
Also, you might not want to admit that to your teammates, but
yeah, and then for example, Ben asked me, did Oliver first pick a rare in his first pack?
Right.
And I said, no, he passed me a rare in the pack. So that narrows down the possibility, like the card that he can have. So maybe if there's a rare that you want to play around, well, suddenly you don't have to because Oliver does not have a rare from this set and that we haven't seen in his deck.
Now, does that just come to your head naturally? Like, do you? I mean, because I think a lot of people would go, well, how would you remember what was passed to you? That was, an hour ago. Does it just register in your head naturally now, or do you have to consciously remember each of those things?
A little bit. I think it's easier for them than for me. They're more used to team draft. What I remember is the kind of information that you remember in regular draft. Like, for example, I see an opening pack and I think, well, this is probably the next best card, so they're going to be in this color, and then there are 9 good cards, so one of them is going to wheel. This is the kind of stuff that I remember.
Okay.
But this draft, I was so focused on chastising myself for what I thought were pretty bad picks that I was like, oh my god, this is on camera, everyone's looking, everyone saw me pick that card. And then I didn't, and then they were like, so Paulo, why'd you pass him? I was like, I had no idea.
That's great. Thanks for the honesty, Paulo. Hey, great job winning that match for your team and putting them into the finals. And good luck in the finals when you get there too.
Thank you.
Yep. I love it. He's very honest, right? He lets us know that stuff. I'm ready to watch the semis.
Sure.
Do we get to do that now? Okay. Okay, I guess we got a commercial. So we're going to be back in just a few minutes, but when we come back, we're going to watch the second semifinal here from Sunday Night Magic. Don't go anywhere.